Hello guys, welcome back to today's live interview. I'm here today with Stephanie Taylor, co-founder of HMO Heaven, featured on The Telegraph and entrepreneur.com. Stephanie's business model relies on being able to fill vacant rooms quickly with her business. And the lockdown made that very, very challenging. But Stephanie managed to pivot her existing business online very, very quickly. And actually it's become incredibly successful in the process. So as part of our Inspiring Pivot series, Stephanie's here today to tell us all about it, the lessons she learned, and to give us a real insight into her business before, during, and after this lockdown. So, Stephanie, how are you?
I am phenomenal, Sebastian. It's really exciting to be here. At the same time, I feel a bit sick in the bottom of my belly, but I'm loving it. I'm great. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, well, you know, if you're here on the Inspiring Pivot series, then it means you've done an amazing job, right? So you can just relax.
Cool. I'll do that.
This is a pretty informal interview. You know, this is like it's how I call it. I call it real but raw. You know?
Yeah, nothing the raw and real. I like that.
That's it. So we're turning these episodes into a podcast called Round Square Holes, which is basically designed for entrepreneurs. But again, you know, we're not in the studio. We're under lockdown conditions. So we're you know, it's exactly that, real but raw, but incredible stories. And you know, we're delighted to have you on. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
So I'd love to just get a quick snippet into exactly what brought you to doing, you know, what made you do your business in the first place? What drove you to create your business?
Yeah, oh gosh, I'll try to make it in a shorter story. I didn't actually start my business until I was 45. And I always never quite thought of myself as a business person, a property person, investment person, financial success person. And I had my son Alex when I was 19. So it's not always been easy either financially. I haven't always felt that I've seen my potential, or I never imagined to be in the situation that I'm now in. Hope I don't cry. But what happened was that my mum, because I have told this story a few times now, but my mum got sick, and it just really made me feel that she called me one day, and I was just getting ready for work, and I took the call and I spoke to her, but I was really sort of dashing for her to get off the phone so that I could get into work and do this presentation that I had, and I didn't give her the time. And when I was done at work in the afternoon, I just thought, I just felt it in my belly again. I seem to feel a lot of things in my belly, but I just thought, you know what? Your mum's more important. If you hadn't come into the bank today, if you hadn't been able to make it, they would have been fine, but your mum wouldn't. And you're not living your life the way that you need to be living it, and you need to find something else to do. And it was that sort of made me brave enough to go past all of the resistance that I had. And now I am crying. So excuse me if I go off the screen a moment.
Take your time, Stephanie.
Sorry. Just grabbing it. Anyway, I'm surprised at that, because I have told that story a few times now. But anyway, that's how I got into business. I just decided that I needed to try, and so that I can be more flexible with my life.
So ultimately for you, it was about having more freedom and flexibility with your time.
Yes.
So what you wanted to create this kind of lifestyle around that, right? So for you, business was about building a lifestyle for you, building a lifestyle which would, you know, support what you wanted to do in your life and give you that freedom ultimately.
Yeah, and it's just the freedom to live your values, because you invest your time in the things that are important to you. And I was investing all of my time into things that actually weren't important to me. And I wanted to be able to shift that. And I think I got the feeling, because time was passing, and as I say, I was 45 when we started, that I there wasn't time to waste, that I needed to actually do it. So there was a little bit of urgency about doing it. And getting going.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So it was a rapid change. So what was your work before then? Before when you had no time, you didn't have the freedom you wanted. What was your work before?
Well, I was working in financial services, as a contractor, and in a bank. And so I'm a very creative person. I have lots of ideas. And I was in a very detail-oriented job. So that's actually not a great match. I didn't know all these things at the time, or I hadn't, looked at it from a bird's eye view sort of thing. And it was just after that I just thought, oh, you're meant for something else. There's something else. This isn't the thing. You can't do this for another 20 odd years or however long.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So it was a real sudden, like, that's it. I'm gonna change.
Yeah, and I had the idea of property because I kind of knew, I didn't know a huge amount about business, but I kind of knew, I could see that people had property and they had businesses from it, but they were the sort of business where you don't always have to work like you're on a hamster wheel to keep it going, like being self-employed without the perks of having a job, but having to work like that. And so I thought, if I had something like that was involving assets as well as the business side.
Right. Okay. So how long have you been doing this for now?
2016 I started, and
Amazing.
So just coming up to 4 years.
Wow, that's rapid growth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been an incredible ride. And the thing that inspires me, you said what inspires me is that I could have done this all along. Every one of us already have that potential inside us. It's just what we allow ourselves to believe. And when you give yourself the gift of believing in yourself in a different way, it just opens the whole world of potential up to you. So through the process that we're going through now, and one of the programs that we're on, I've come up with it, which it's believe bigger. So that's about having the belief. Be bolder, and that's about stopping from hiding and stepping out into the new ways that you want to adopt, because often we're fearful that people who already know us won't like it, and often they won't like it, but it's having the boldness to be able to do that, even though some people will reject you. And the final one is to be a game changer, because as you know as well, Sebastian, the joy of all the creation is in the gifts that you can give to other people. You obviously give yourself the gift of achieving more of your potential as you go forward, but you get the joy of being able to help other people to achieve their potential. And I heard, before I actually joined the KPI program that we know each other through, I heard a podcast, and it was about the 1%, and it was about give before you're ready. And that really resonated with me, because I thought, what the 1% is, just for people who don't know, is that you give 1% now. So it could be 1% of your salary, it could be 1% of your net revenue, it could be 1% of your gross revenue, but you give now so that you're always giving back. And we, through our business, use the B1G1 platform.
Yes, we had the founder of B1G1, Masami Sato, on here.
Yes, I saw that. So
incredible vision.
Yeah, it is. And as funds, people buy from your business, you're giving as a part of. So it just makes it really feel incredible within your business, as you grow your business, that you're growing, you're giving as well.
Amazing. I've got a bunch of questions on everything you just said, because there are some brilliant insights there. The first thing which I loved was how you spoke about, you've been an entrepreneur for a relatively short amount of time, really, 4 or 5 years, and you've seen a lot of success already in what you've done, even through the startup phase, and now through a global crisis, you're still seeing success. What's quite interesting to me is what you said, which was you always had this in you. It was just noticing it, like almost like you got this awareness, right?
Yeah. Well,
Alexander Syria, I interviewed him yesterday, and he said exactly the same thing. I mean, his role is to take people who are full-time employees, essentially working in government roles, NHS, police, and to train them to be entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
So he's got this insight into what makes an entrepreneur, which is fascinating. And one of the biggest things he says is that, he uses the example of resilience being one of the most important things for being an entrepreneur. Yeah. And the fact that when you're younger, you fall over, you get back up, you eventually learn to walk. So you kind of have that resilience, but over time you forget about it. And it's the same with these kind of skills and the skills you need to be successful in business. You kind of, if you have that moment, that almost epiphany moment, actually I've got more control of this than I realize. I'm in control of the outcome. People like that go through what you've gone through, and suddenly you've got that powerful why. The reason you're doing what you're doing, which you spoke to us about at the beginning of this. And I think that fuels everything, right?
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And the difference is that I know in all of my being that I will be successful. And I'm not saying that because I think I know everything about business or everything about life, or that I've arrived at this place. But I know that as long as you keep moving forwards and you keep using your mind to see the next thing and see the next thing and see the next thing, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to fail. And I just wish that I'd had that, when I was younger. I had so many years of struggle that now I just feel is unnecessary.
Yeah, completely. But those years of struggle are probably what gave you the motivation to do what you're doing in the first place, right? Yeah. I often look back at things, I've learned so much now. If only I knew that before. But ultimately, would you have had the motivation, the drive to do the things you're doing now if you didn't go through those difficult times? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe not. I think it gives me empathy, because when people come onto our program, the thing that I learned is that it's not about the information, it's about the inspiration. So they have to get over lots of blocks in their minds, that lots of resistance to moving forward to beyond where they've been. They've come on the program to create a transformation, and a lot of the time, every ounce of your humanity is calling you back and saying, "No, don't do this. It's too scary." And so our role is just to get them past that. And I've now diverted from the conversation. I can't remember what the question was.
The other thing you mentioned was values, right? And you talked about the different values you've got. One of them was to be bold. One of them was the game changer, and the other one was the first. It's
the belief.
The belief. Amazing.
Belief was number one.
Belief was number one. So belief, being bold, and a game changer. And those values that you've got, are they your values or your business's values?
Yeah, well, they're both.
Okay.
I believe my core value is, or what I would love to be able to, the gift I want to give is that gift of inspiration, because we all go through that moment when we realize, yes, we can, in all different aspects of our life. And I want to help people, and obviously in the same way that I'm always helping myself and growing my mind, I want to help other people say, yes, I can, yes, I can, yes, I can. And that's the joy of life for me, and where I think I can give something to people.
Amazing. So in terms of getting to know your business a little bit, before we talk about pivoting and all that sort of stuff, I'd love to know what was your business like before lockdown?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah, so our business is called HMO Heaven, and it is property management and a property development business, and we specialize in house shares. House shares are known as HMOs in the UK, houses of multiple occupation. So we're called HMO Heaven, and our business is to transform house shares from hellish to heavenly, create beautiful, affordable homes for the people who live there, but also provide an incredible service for landlords, guaranteed rent, freedom from tenant management, and total peace of mind. So what we're always striving for within that business is excellence. There's a lot of dodgy practice in the sphere that we're in, and the model that type of business that I've just described is also known within the property circles. The shorthand is rent to rent. And because there are quite low barriers to entry to that business, then there are lots of people who are doing it not as they should be. And but we started it, and I heard about this strategy, and I thought, I went from like hardly any confidence to thinking, gosh, yes, I can definitely do that. I can absolutely do it. And so that's where we started from, really, and we built it up over almost 4 years now, and we have contracts, long-term contracts with properties. So we will rent a property from an owner on a long-term basis. By long-term, I mean somewhere between 3 and 5 years, usually 5, and then we'll rent the property out to tenants, having spruced it up a bit for a higher rent, all agreed and legal, and agreed with the owner, who's delighted just to have the guaranteed rent aspect of things.
Okay, cool. So in terms of your clients, who are your typical clients that you work with? It's the landlords, or? Okay, cool.
At the moment, it's a very local business. So I'm based in Newport in Wales, and we work with people who own the properties. And because the business model is so efficient, we actually have the names and addresses of all those people. So we can write letters to them, which we do on a regular basis, and say, here we are. Wouldn't you like us to do this for you, and things like that? And so gradually we get more and more business. So at the moment, the contracts that we have within our business are worth £2 million over the contract periods, and yeah, we're looking to grow that. But that's it's a very local business. But what we see through the other digital assets that we've created is that what we can create is either a license or a franchise model, because the people who work with us would love to just be able to say, can I have your branding? Can I have your systems? We are giving our systems and the way we do things as part of the program that we sell. But I think some people would just like to be able to just pick it up, lock and stock and barrel, and have us do their sort of back end software things, and that they just do the on the ground bit. So that's something that we're looking towards in the future.
Very interesting. I think a lot of people watching this, who've been watching some of our previous interviews, will, that they're looking at this period we're in now as a chance to double down on developing digital assets, right? Yeah. So it'd be great to hear what digital assets you guys have developed, and if you've developed any new digital assets now this kind of lockdown has occurred.
Yeah, well, I'll take it in 2 stages, because we did a huge pivot in 2019, the very beginning, and within a 6-week period, because I like to put myself under ridiculous time pressure. Within a 6 weeks period, I wrote the course, produced the course, and sold the course, and I had moments where I was just, trying to record the videos for the course and just say, I don't like my face, and having little meltdowns. But those 6 weeks of hard work, putting all of our knowledge and everything that we'd learned into this step-by-step format, it's one of the things that I feel most proud of that we've created. Yeah, it's really been a massive benefit, not for the people that we work with and transformations that they get, but also we've had to grow so much as leaders and stand up and be seen, which often feels quite scary even now, and for our business, it's just been phenomenal. So it's been a really great experience.
So early 2019, that's when you started to pivot online, really?
Yeah, we launched the course in January, the end of January 2019, and just want to say to your group who are listening in Dubai, are they mainly service businesses?
Yeah, I would say they're mostly service. Yeah. Yeah,
you have assets. You have assets right now. If you're daunted and you think, I don't want to spend 6 weeks, banging my head against my computer, you have assets right now, because what we realize is even the contracts that we use in our business, other lawyers do not know how to create those contracts, because those contracts are so we can just sell those online without anything, just put a little shop up there and tell people about it. So you already have digital assets that you can use straight away while you maybe develop your bigger ones.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think sometimes people get overwhelmed with the smaller details of how they can perfect their course before they've even got it out there. And something we're doing with FTEN X Academy is, we work with small businesses to pivot them online rapidly. And so this month alone in May, we've got 10 small businesses that we're getting online, and the whole process is to do it very, very quickly, right? In under 2 weeks, we can speak with them, design a course, and get it online, because they're sitting on so many assets. A lot of that is the fact that they know their industry, they know their business inside out. We've got some amazing small business owners, lifeguards, a wine tasting company watching now today, maybe, all these amazing, local small businesses who are now having this ability to tap into their assets, and now, instead of serving the local community, serve the global market, right?
They're going to be
massive opportunity there.
They're going to be so glad they did it, because it took us nearly 4 years now to reach a certain point. We're already 50% of that turnover within our online business within not even 2 years. So, and that's as not being experts, figuring, just sort of figuring it out and learning as we go, sort of thing. And I think the next 2 years is going to be much faster, because we now know a lot more than we did. So.
Yeah, definitely. So talk me through it. I mean, in the UK, the lockdown it's pretty strict still. It was probably about just over 7 weeks ago that the lockdown officially occurred. And before that, business was going well, no changes to your business, and then suddenly, bang! What was the big change that you experienced first?
Gosh, it was just. I just had a moment where I just thought, how are we going to get through this? Because what we thought was that we pay guaranteed rent. That's not a unique selling point, but it's one of our selling points. So I thought, so our rents out to the owners are set, but our income in, we thought, was going to fall, massively, because wouldn't be able to pay for their rent. In actual fact, what happened was that the government gave a lot of support, as you know, and that actually everyone could pay or was able to offer a payment plan while they waited for their payments to come through. So that wasn't an issue. What our issue was that as people decided to move home, a lot of our tenants are young professionals, and they are moving back to be with their family and so on. And so whereas they've committed for a 6-month contract, now after month 1 they're moving home, and obviously we're not going to hold them on in this sort of scenario for the rest of that. So that's creating a big gap within the business. And so I think the 2 things that helped us are that we just focused on 2 things. One is future focus, because it's so easy to think, it's so easy to feel like this is going to go on forever and it's really going to kill you. But in actual fact, as I said, most of our contracts are actually 5 years. This period is likely to be a few months. And that's a small amount of time. So we just need to focus on where do we want to be after the lockdown has ended, and what can we do now in this new reality to make sure that we get there. So future focus and focus on being exceptional. So when there is a crisis, it's easier actually to be exceptional just by turning up. And how can we be exceptional for our team? How can we be exceptional for our landlords? And how can we be exceptional for our tenants? And that's what we put the focus on, to look at how we can get to the other side and be really proud of what how we managed it this time, because this is how people are going to remember us.
Yeah, completely. And again, it sounds like a lot of what you're doing there is being guided by your values, right? Which are almost like your compass there. That belief, bold, game changer, and ultimately being exceptional. So when you look forward, you mentioned the next 2 years. Is that as far as you look forward, or do you look further forward, or do you often look right in front of you? What's your kind of system or focus there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a vision. It's not in total detail, but I have some ideas about what I want to achieve, personally, how I want to be living in 5 and 10 years time, but they're at a sort of more framework level. These are the big things that I'd like to be hitting in 5 or 10 years time. But within the business, we are looking on a shorter business with HMO Heaven. Ultimately, we want to create a business that people want to buy, because what we are a version of a letting agent, and letting agents are very viable with the right model. But so we want to be good. Really good. So that's all our focus on: medium term, short term, medium term, and long term. We want to be exceptional.
Okay, cool. So I mean, obviously this has been a fairly big transformation for you, and you guys are absolutely smashing it. I love your focus. I think that's awesome. What would be your? I mean, we had a really good question here actually, because this is from Sabrina.
Yeah.
Let me try and find it here. Yes, here it is. What did you find difficult about taking your business online, and what do you think worked best?
The thing that's most important about it is just to know that you will be successful, and that everything that you do on the way to becoming successful is just an experiment. So I knew that, for example, I'm not very good with technical things, and a lot of it seemed to be quite technical, but I just knew that if other people can do this, that I can do this. I just follow the same step. They follow your process, it will work. So I know that you're working with Sebastian, and follow the process, it will work.
Brilliant. That's brilliant advice. Let's have a look here. It's fantastic advice from FTEN. Sabrina says, taking away a lot of great advice and information from this interview, and excited to apply it to my business. Awesome stuff. That's encouraging from Shivani.
Yeah.
Good question here from FTEN. What are the most important qualities you believe make an entrepreneur successful?
Oh, that's great, isn't it? I think it is about the mindset, and it is about persistence. I think it's just about keeping going, because there are so many incredible people with an incredible gift to give who just give up when things get rough. And I might have been that person before, but then when you get the mind switch and you just realize that everything's just a lesson on the journey, and you keep going, you hit the bell, if you keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. So ultimately, one of the most important traits of an entrepreneur is resilience, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That is the thing.
So here's a question for you then. What's the best way to develop resilience?
Have a reason why you want to reach the goal more than you want to turn back. Because the reason we turn back is because it feels more comfortable. Your conscious mind wants to reach the goal. That's the one that says, right, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow and every day from whenever and go to the gym. And then when you get into the moment, your instinctive mind, the one that's running your life, really, if you don't have the results that you're looking for, it's because the unconscious thoughts you're thinking are creating actions that you don't want. So I think the way to get better is, if you went to the gym, you wouldn't go straight for the really heavy weights. You start off with the smaller weights, and then you would work your way up to the heavier weights later on. And it's a bit like that when you are trying to coax your unconscious mind to new and more useful, beneficial thoughts, then you just need to start practicing.
Yeah.
As you start practicing, you become better, and soon your unconscious thoughts become helpful to you, because you actually want to go to the gym, you want to eat healthy food, you want to take the next step. So I would just say it's just a matter of daily practice, and you need to have some way of consciously looking at your thoughts and improving them. Yeah,
I think that's a really great point. And ultimately, if you're finding it difficult to build that resilience, one of the things you said was have a bigger reason why. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a bigger reason why, and I think ultimately, if you're running a business through a global pandemic and you're trying to push your business through that, it's a pretty big reason why. You know, this should highlight for you different things that's really driving you, right? I mean, a lot of people are looking at their businesses, looking at their work, and they're changing their mind that, you know, that this is not enough of a reason why.
Yeah.
So they're simply not giving themselves that resilience. They're not showing that resilience because they don't have a big enough reason why.
Yeah,
and so they either leave their businesses behind or they leave their work behind. A great thing that we talked about at the very beginning was to attach yourself to a strong why, or, you know, a strong purpose, and that's the 1% rule. You know, if you're able to attach yourself to a global solution to something, you know, one of the 12 UN global goals of sustainability, something along those lines, where, you know, you feel fully attached to the outcome of that, and your whole team does, and you're a value-based organization, going back to what Masami Sato was saying, then, you know, ultimately that it lights a fire in your team, you know, and you've got that strong why to help you through difficult times.
Yeah, I've got my fire in my belly for that, but also just for doing the right thing, because what we're seeing is that what we have is basically a commercial contract between ourselves and the landlords that we've made our arrangements with. But what you see is some of the big blue chip companies, they also have commercial, you know, contracts and arrangements, and they have the funds to be able to pay, but they're choosing not to pay. And I believe that all our partnerships, or, you know, all of the people we work with are partners, and that anything needs to be negotiated together, not just unilaterally say, well, do you know what, we're not paying because times are tough now. So I just believe deeply that I want to be able to look back on this and be proud of what we did, and be able to talk publicly about how we managed ourselves in difficult times, you know, whatever those difficult times are, because sometimes there will be occasion where you need to exit from one style of business, you know, and transition to another style of business. But what's incredibly exciting is that within the economy, in the world we live in, where you can go online so easily, you can always have a business which will thrive in any kind of market. And that's the opportunity that we all have, which is so incredibly exciting.
Yeah, again, another pattern I'm noticing with people who are successfully navigating through this difficult time is that they're excited about the problem-solving aspect of this and what we're all going through, right? And while one door kind of closes, and there's another 4 or 5 that are opening up, if you're aware and you're able to kind of seek opportunity and you enjoy the problem-solving aspect, which is, it looks to me like you are enjoying.
Yeah, well, I haven't, you know, I have my up days and down days, but yeah, overall, I think you can ask yourself useful questions. I think I probably first heard that from Tony Robbins, but the useful question is, so if we know that on one side income is going to be down and, you know, outgoings are going to be up for a limited period, first of all, obviously we've asked questions about what we can do around that realm, but then we just, once we got that sorted, we then said, well, if we could do something else that's going to help people right now, what would it be? What do people need right now that we could provide? And that helped us find some new answers that we hadn't really previously thought about.
Yeah, completely. Good question here from Sabrina again. Do you think many businesses will survive the crisis? Which industries do you feel are best suited to succeed in times like this?
I think that most businesses can thrive, but it is all about the mind. So my sister was just telling me earlier this morning that a restaurant that she used to love was on the news saying that it couldn't possibly do takeaways, and it wasn't going to do them, and it was losing money hand over fist and da-di-da. And then there are other restaurants which have turned into takeaways. Leanne mentioned in her interview of a cafe that's now become a veg delivery service. It's because those people ask themselves the questions, what if I could help someone right now who needs the service and would pay for it? And they find the answers, whereas other people closed that door. But I think every business can pivot, or every business person can pivot their business.
Certainly, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think in some cases it will be more extreme than others. I think if you are working within something that's luxury based, and if we're in a deep recession, that may be hard. There are ways you can look at your business and find out, is there a product or a service you can provide which is more vital? If I look at the work we're doing with FTEN X, previously with FTEN, a lot of the clients, it was massive projects. It was large businesses who needed, Will Smith, the Pope. These guys are doing some amazing work with big clients. But the shift here that the FTEN team have made is working with small businesses to rapidly pivot them online. And that shift means that these guys are working completely in the vital space. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the businesses I've seen doing really well from this have found that within their business. What do our customers still need? And what you said about vegetable delivery, people still need to eat vegetables. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's the switch there. I love that. There's been quite a few takeaway places who are like, well, we can deliver your 5 a day.
Yeah.
And that isn't that the perfect analogy of vital and luxury, right? Going from whatever it was they were serving to going back to basics. But I've also seen some amazing shifts. People who aren't able to find that vital product or service, they're able to do something else. Build a community, use this time to leverage, and build a bigger audience or develop assets, and ultimately, prepare their business for a relaunch or reinvention on the other side.
That is huge, because recently I was rereading Kevin Kelly's 1000 True Fans. But what I wanted to say to your Dubai audience is, actually, you only need 100 true fans to actually launch a new and really super successful digital product.
Yeah.
And as they're all existing service businesses, you will certainly have that or be able to get it very, very, very quickly. But when we first started and we decided to put together the program, we'd already been asked for it, and all we had, I started up a Facebook group, I started up a YouTube channel, and just from the few hundred people who originally came into the Facebook group, we launched this, in inverted commas, launched the program with a long and rambling Facebook Live, in the hope that 12 people would jump in on the very first one. And 24 people came in. And in fact, 30 people wanted to come in. And we turned away 6 and sort of did 2 groups of 12 for the first, because our promise was 12. And so I see people thinking that they have to have a huge audience to get started, and really you don't.
It's about the quality of the audience, right? And how close knit the community is.
Yeah, and the community will grow really quickly, because that same Facebook group has now got over 3,000, I think it is, but they're all very keen on our little tiny niche. So
yeah, this is the great thing about a niche. You if you develop a community around a very specific niche, suddenly everyone feels, they've almost found their people. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's something connecting everyone, and that's the great thing about Facebook groups. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's this platform in which you can really connect people very, very easily, and especially if you're a business, you can find people to join your group who you weren't aware of, previously through Facebook quite easily. Super interesting. Some great comments here, guys. So another comment here. Great to hear your thoughts on this crisis and how to survive from your perspective, Stephanie. Thanks for sharing such great advice with us. Love the analogy. Being fit is about showing up to the gym every day. Eventually, you succeed in becoming fit. You're only deemed an entrepreneur when you are successful, and that means showing up every day. Yeah, interesting. Some great points there, guys. Any other questions at all, guys? Feel free to send them in. Stephanie, in terms of looking forward, let's look 5-10 years in advance, right? I know you're a future focused organization. For a lot of the business owners here in Dubai who are going through this crisis, they're trying to pivot online. How do you feel business is going to change, and how can they prepare for the future?
I think the way to prepare is really digital assets, because they can be delivered in almost every circumstances. Hopefully we'll never have to deal with the circumstance without Wi-Fi. Oh,
back to phone calling.
Yeah, but yeah, when you have digital assets, but even if there was no Wi-Fi, you could still do it through the post. But when you have digital assets, your business owns assets, and it's having just asking those questions. What do I have that could be useful to other people, and who are those other people? What can you provide? And creating digital assets, creating your own IP. The other thing that's really important is systemizing your business in a easily repeatable and outsourceable way, because that allows you to do things like the things that we were talking about earlier. If you have a very local based business that has some online assets, then you can franchise or license that on the basis of the digital assets, and then have the in-person work as a bonus. You know, that's adds an extra stream of revenue, but all of the cost of running your business and profit is in the digital side of things.
Yeah, brilliant. Great advice. Could you give a few examples of digital assets that you've seen people create other than an online course?
Yeah, I think another one, which is a really quick, and a really quick win, and it's a great way to see what your people want. So if you're just starting out and maybe you've got a few hundred people on your emailing list, and you've decided, I'll put up a Facebook group, and you've emailed them to say, I've started a Facebook group, a few of them go over there and join it, and then you say, you can start asking them questions. What are you looking for at the moment? What are you most struggling with at the moment in XX sphere? And then when people start to tell you, you can then say, right, we're going to have a live workshop on blah, 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 and it's going to give you XYZ transformation. Who wants in? And it's £47 or whatever the price point is. Because when you see that people are willing to pay for it, even if it's a small amount, then you know if people are interested or not straight away, and you've lost nothing, because if only one person signs up, you'll know that wasn't really a winner, or that wasn't really the right audience, and you can just try something else. Okay, I've had some feedback. Let's do a workshop on, I can't think of, let's do a workshop on how to write your contracts, or I don't know, whatever it might be. It's a really quick way to find out what people want before you spend time putting more effort into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think brilliant advice. I think a lot of the time people get hung up on perfecting whatever it is they want to do before they even get feedback from the market, right? And the way I see a new business is it's just a first draft. Whatever it is you're going to create is going to be a first draft, right? So get your first draft out there ASAP, so that you can start getting feedback, right? So the kind of cycle is first draft feedback, second draft feedback, third draft feedback, right? You might not get a profitable business until like your fifth or sixth draft, but I think it's just seeing as that initial concept, it needs feedback before you polish it.
And people love being the first draft people.
Yes.
We came into our first program, I just have so much heart for them, because they joined us when we didn't have a track record. We had a track record running the business, but we didn't have a track record teaching people how to do it. And they all jumped in and, was so, they had so much faith in us and so much passion. And we're still, in close contact with those people. And people love being part of the first one, because we might think, oh, it's not perfect, it's not all polished yet, but they love being of the first version. Yeah, definitely. Your founding members becoming an incredible community in their own right, really, don't they? Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that we haven't talked about, which just came to mind, is recurring revenue. So many service businesses, there is a recurring revenue angle to it, where you can actually provide a lot of value at a much lower price point for your customers. So your customers love it, and because you're serving a lot of people at once. It just really works well. And when we did our first online program with the 24 people, at the end of it, so we got to the end of this 6 weeks, and you put so much into it, and I had the idea sort of vaguely that we might do something, a group afterwards, but I hadn't had any time to get anything done because I was spending all my time supporting everybody and following up with the questions and just in the general state of excitement and seeing people, really doing it. But we hadn't worked out the group, and on the last live call, I said, well, this has been amazing, and we did have the idea of doing a group afterwards, but we're not ready with that yet because I had the idea that we needed to have lots of information assets already on this group platform before we could invite people to it. And they were like, no, we need to join now. We need to be on it now. So we just made it a no-brainer price, and people really just came in just to stay within the community and not for any further assets. They already have the program, and I've just seen how important having that community is for people, especially now.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing, brilliant insights. You've obviously been through a massive transformation. I mean, to do what you've done in 4 years is incredible. So well done, amazing job. Have you had any mentors on the way, or any courses you've done, or anything that's really inspired you and sort of helped you, and that you would kind of attest a lot of your success to?
Yeah, well, there are so many people, but I'm just going to call out a few. So Daniel Priestley with KPI. I first read Key Person of Influence, the book by Daniel Priestley, in 2016. So we were just starting out. So the idea of having all of the assets that he was talking about in there, like books and lots of videos and blogs and everything online, was just seemed so far away. But I actually joined the program last November, and I'm well on my way. I'm writing my first book. I'm launching a podcast. I have lots of digital assets up now, and I like the way that he's helped me think about my business. So him, and the other one is our friend. Well, I say friend. I feel like I know him. He doesn't know me. But Jason Greystone, I started listening to his podcast, and I really love the way that he talks about time and the way that we invest our money. Is like, say you decide you're buying I don't know, lots of nightclubs or holidays or whatever. That's what you're investing in. That's what you're investing in. But are you also investing in things that will buy you back your time, that will buy you back your life? Are you? He's talked about investing in stocks. Obviously, I like investing in property, right? But I will actually also move into investing in stocks. I really like the way that he thinks about a lot of the things, and I recommend that podcast.
Amazing. So really, in terms of developing assets, looking into accelerating your business, Daniel Priestley's been a massive influence there. In terms of developing your mindset as an investor and looking sort of kind of long term at where you're investing your money, Jason Greystone's been an amazing insight for you.
Yeah, and if I can add another one,
you can add one more.
Okay. I always want to. Can I do another one? But David Vidales, he also Vidales, Vidales. He helped me so much with the Facebook group and how to grow an actual community that's really engaged, and also as asset from that helps you grow your business and helps them achieve the transformations that they're looking for. So that's
amazing. Really, really cool. So the guys and girls watching at home, we've actually got, you're probably hearing the same names come out quite a bit. Yeah. We've actually got Daniel Priestley and Jason Greystone coming up this month doing 2 live interviews each in the group. So, you guys are having access to these incredible mentors who have helped, who are standing out for helping people massively during this crisis. So, that's going to be really exciting. Hopefully you guys can tune in for that one. David Vidales, let's see if we can get him on as well. Can you introduce me?
Yes, yeah. He's incredible. He really is.
Cool. I think that sounds, you know, the kind of angle he's got will be great for this group as well. I think the group would really enjoy that. So yeah. Amazing insights. I think we've all gained so much, as FTEN X have said here. Very insightful. Another message here, hearing this more and more in the current times, businesses that are passion-led are adapting. Businesses that are money, time, effort in weighed against profits are struggling. Yeah, completely agree. You know, if you've got that strong why, you're going to have more resilience. You need resilience at this moment in time. So ultimately, you know, that's the passion-led business, right? So guys, we're going to finish off there. Any final words at all, Stephanie, that you'd like to give? Any inspirational words to help our small businesses in Dubai and around the world pivot online, or just to cope with these difficult times?
Yeah, it's just that it sometimes doesn't feel like it, but there are opportunities in every single time frame. There are opportunities in good times and there are opportunities in bad times. And actually, in more challenging times, there's more opportunity because fewer people can see the opportunities that are there. So if you can train yourself to be able to see the opportunities that are there, you can do phenomenally well, even in very challenging times. In fact, especially in very challenging times.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Really appreciate you coming on. What's the best way for our members here or our viewers or listeners on the podcast to get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you want to ask any questions, especially if you're thinking about getting started in digital, obviously I'm not the expert, but if you just want to talk about what my experiences were, then I'm on Facebook, Stephanie Taylor UK, for messages, and I'm on Instagram at Stephanie T Property. And then if you just want to check out our businesses, it's hmoheaven.co.uk, and our coaching business is rentsuccess.com.
Amazing. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you all as well.